Welcome to Real Estate of Mind, a Farbman Group podcast. Good afternoon and welcome to Real Estate of Mind. I'm Andy Gutman and I'm here today joined by our Executive Vice President, our Director of Retail, Ron Goldstone. Welcome, Ron.
Well, thank you, Andy, and thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to talking to you.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, Ron, so I know you're too young for this, but you just had your 30th anniversary with Farbman, which you started right out of middle school with us, I'm pretty sure. Is that right?
Something like that. It was middle school in Ann Arbor. So
there you go. We'll get into the Ann Arbor thing later. I know that's going to be a topic that everyone's going to want to talk about, last week's game, so we'll get to that. But in the meantime, one of the things that I think, because you have such longevity in commercial real estate, in retail, and we look at you, you're obviously our expert in retail and the leader of that, but it goes so far beyond just the retail component that you're dealing with. You are really what we believe to be an expert in customer relations and finding the unique qualities of each project and each customer's needs. I'd like you to do me a favor and talk to me a little bit about your approach to clients in general and to retail in general.
Sure. It's a understanding of a individual, an entity, an ownership group's goals and the asset at hand. Some assets are in a position where they're properly designed, properly built, and capable of continuing in their current operation, whether it be a shopping center, an office building. In some cases, you have to change uses, and then you've got to balance those aspects with the ownership's goals.
And I think that's a great approach. What I really like, you take a very deep dive in dealing with those clients. I know you've been a big part of repositioning big box and other things that, if clients have had a change in strategy, or in some cases, some of those big boxes have gone out, and you've been tasked with taking that over. And I love the approach you take, which is every time you look at each asset individually, you look at the needs of the owner and what the best use is for their product. It's amazing that you do that. And, so tell me, you get the call from X client that has 30 big box sites that need repositioning. What's day one look like for you?
Well, an interesting case study, when a billion-dollar consortium bought Mervyn's from Target Corporation, we had about 15 assets, about 1.2 million square feet in the Michigan market that we were evaluating on their behalf. And in that case, we spent probably about a week or 10 days in cars, understanding each individual asset, taking a number of photographs, getting information on the zoning, the dimensional characteristics, and overall community information, demographics, income levels, in trying to put each asset into a class as whether it's something that can continue in its current retail orientation, is it something that makes more sense for alternative uses. And we really kind of focused on each asset individually and then valued all the assets. In some cases, they were logical single tenant boxes. We did multiple deals with Burlington Coat Factory, one in Westland, one in Dearborn, and one in Portage, Michigan. In some cases, the boxes were subdivided. We did one transaction with Christmas Tree Shops and Bye Bye Baby, which are a affiliate of Bed Bath & Beyond. We did another transaction, unfortunately, with Circuit City, but I did backfill it with Big Lots, so I saved the relationship with the client. And in that case, those were boxes that we cut in 2, 3, sometimes 4 pieces. And understanding the options, understanding the physical box, and understanding the opportunities available is really the key to our role.
And I love the way you make it very nonchalant when you talk about it, but this is something that I've always respected most about you. The client relationship is first. So forgetting the fact that you summed up all the needs of this client, the best uses for their product. It was a divide and conquer thing as opposed to trying to do one bulk sale or one bulk, deal. But you talked about the Circuit City deal, and obviously everybody kind of felt the pain of that when that did not succeed. But your strategy was, okay, that didn't work for the client. We put them in, or we helped with that deal. It didn't work. I am immediately on it for my client and going back to work to make sure that we make that right. And that's a cool approach to things. I've sat in meetings with you with the clients, and it is so personalized. It's about caring about what their needs are, trying to find out what their hope and goal is, and you just approach that in such a very and it's an amazing manner, and it separates you from I think the pack and how you do that.
Well, thank you very much, Andy. I try hard.
All right, Ron. So a hot topic right now really tends to be distressed assets, and so you're seeing from the 2016 2017 debt maturities, the CMBS market. A lot of assets are just hitting that wall on maturity and need to be repositioned. I know you're active in that, but I think it goes so far beyond that. It's really your career has been a lot of dealing with surplus properties, which not always distressed, just a corporate reorganization or strategy. Tell me a little bit about your experience in that, and what you see as the future of it.
In every case, every property is unique. Even, for example, I represented Sears Holding on probably 8 or 10 former Kmart assets around Michigan. And in some cases, they were very well positioned, well designed, in the right area. I had the pleasure of working with Sears and Kroger's, and we traded the asset in Southgate, Michigan, from Sears to Kroger's. The box was about 170,000 feet. It had great ceiling heights. It had great column spacing, very logical parking fields, and we were able to literally convert it to a Kroger's. In another case, we had an asset that was on Telegraph and about 7 3/4 mile road. In that case, the retail area really wasn't deep enough to support 150, 170,000 foot box. And we had the pleasure to work with a Fortune 500 company, U-Haul.
Okay.
Great people to work with, very professional. It took us a little bit of time to get through the city of Detroit as it relates to getting a use change, but we found the city of Detroit great to work with and very helpful. And now that's being operated as a major U-Haul dealership. Including truck rental, including self-storage. But the common theme here is every asset is different. Here we have 2 buildings built about the same time in very similar construction fashion, design, land size, yet one was very logical conversion for retail, one we went to a different sector, but the art is recognizing where to take it, where to go with it. And these are assets that were probably $15, $20 million to initially develop, and we really were able to maximize values and put them back into use.
And that's great. I think that's, again, it goes to the strategy has to fit the client's needs, and it has to be well thought out. It's not just, let's put a flyer out, let's, see what happens when we do that. You dig in and you try to find, and then you go to your roster of clients, which after 30 years, again, you started when you were 6, but after that amount of time, there's probably no retailer in the world that you haven't come into contact with over the years, and most have been clients over time. So you really try to find that fit that's not only a good fit for the owner of the asset to begin with, but for the clients coming in. You really are focused on being a win-win, which is an amazing aspect as well.
Well, thank you. And I've had the pleasure of working with people on behalf of another client, and after the transaction, they make the determination, I want you representing me. And that's the nicest compliment you can get in this business.
Yeah, that really is a true compliment, as if you can sit across from someone and after you're done.
And after the deal, saying, wait, I want you to be working on my behalf, so, let's talk.
Yeah. And I liken it sometimes to the Jerry Maguire approach to things, where you're trying to do something great for the people you work for. That's a great thing. So those who have been listening to our podcast know that the questions, they get tough towards the end of this. So we're going to hit a topic that I think is near and dear to you. We just got out of a big football weekend, and U of M's resurgence at the top of the Big Ten. So Ohio State, tough loss. What are your thoughts on it?
It would have been nice if the game was truly decided on the field, and I know it's always easy to look after the fact and try to see what you could have done better. It was very frustrating having 3 turnovers, but at the same time, the game was over. I don't think a first down was ever achieved on that last play. But anyway, it's what gives us something to talk about, and no Michigan fan could be happier than we are, than my family. I think Jimmy Harbaugh has done a great job, and the Michigan team played their hearts out, and it's exciting for the state of Michigan. I mean, with 3 out of 4 of our football teams all doing real well and heading to bowls, and I know Andy, you're a big state fan, but D'Antonio, not a good year.
No, my Spartans, they've had a rough year. It's an interesting dynamic because U of M's resurgence has been interesting. That's been an incredibly quick turnaround. Never seen anything like it. Kudos to Harbaugh. As a Spartan, I can't give too much credit to U of M.
I get it.
But I still think Mark D'Antonio, one of the great all-time coaches. He'll turn that program back around just as quickly as it fell this year.
But why did he go for 2 against Michigan State? There was 4 minutes on the clock. I just didn't get that.
You'd be in a better position if he had.
I would be much happier if he did.
You know the thing, I'm going to close it out with this. I will say I love the courageous behavior of D'Antonio. He went for it, and in a season when he's got nothing to gain by a tie or by going into overtime. So he went, and I love courageous leaders like that. It didn't pan out, but had it, we'd be talking differently.
As a Michigan fan, I wish he didn't go for 2.
I know. Well, we'll see. Michigan will achieve some great bowl this year. Congratulations on that. And Ron, obviously, we're grateful to have you here at Farbman. You're a great representative of our organization. And whenever someone comes and talks to us about retail, you and I had a call before this today where you were talking to a banker about one of the properties they're looking at, and they come to you because you are the go-to for knowledge on retail, knowledge on transitioning of the big box and surplus real estate. We're very fortunate to have you here, and I'd like to end that with saying you've heard another wonderful session of Real Estate of Mind. This is Andy Gutman here with Ron Goldstone, Executive Vice President of Retail for Farbman. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. Join us next time for another wonderful edition of Real Estate of Mind, a Farbman Group podcast.